What's up, all my fellow speedsters, all metahumans, and cobras throughout the multiverse? It's Kevin here. Welcome to the first episode of the Speedforce Legion podcast. Now, the purpose of this podcast is to talk all things comics, pop culture, Marvel, DC, anime, whatever. And goal of this is just, not just to yap about comics, but hopefully when we talk comics and whatnot, I'm hoping that, like how this media got me into comics, I'm hoping maybe this podcast can inspire some of you guys to check out comics, as it's a really, really awesome medium, and I really think a lot of younger viewers should definitely check out comics, no matter the genre. But anyway, guys, I am joined here once again with my buddy Chris here, who has been on the channel before. He also has his own podcast and his own channel, and I'll drop a link in the chat below. But anyway, so we'll be starting this off with just a little intro talking about the comic book genre, what got us into comics, and we'll probably go over our favorite comic book runs, artists, writers, etc. And we'll be talking about stuff like Absolute Power, Absolute DC, and maybe even drop some Marvel stuff in there. And then we'll eventually transition into talking about the DCU. Some of the news with the Superman film and any new news that's dropped. Anyway, Chris, how are you doing this fine day? And you want to get the ball rolling?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. I'm just tired. Been really rainy here, so I haven't been able to go read my comics. But I'm excited to, when the weather's not raining, I'm gonna go and read Absolute Batman 2 and Superman 1.
Nice. All right, hey. What's up, Harris? Welcome to the stream, and
thank you.
We could get the ball rolling. We're gonna talk about how we got into comics, and we'll then transition to like our favorite comic book runs, our favorite comic characters, then transition to our favorite writers and whatnot. Then we'll probably get into more recent stories like the Absolute Universe, and then transition to DCU. So I want you to get the ball rolling with how you got into comics, Paris.
I got into comics a little later in life. I was like maybe, 13 or 15. And I remember it clearly. The first issues I collected was the MC2 line. I don't know if you guys know about that in Malibu Comics.
Nice.
Malibu Comics had they had like Hard Case, Prime, and my godmother used to take me to the comic shop. So I would get and one of my favorites besides that Malibu was back to in the MC2 specifically was J2. He was the son of the Juggernaut in this alternate reality.
Nice. Yeah. All right. I'll continue off that. How I got into comics, which pains me to say it because how that show got later on, and that was the CW Flash show. I did read some small stuff here and there as a kid, but the CW Flash show is what got me really into comics, starting with the Flash, of course. And after that, I just expanded into Marvel, DC. I read a little bit of Invincible, some of the Walking Dead stuff as well. But Flash was because of that show, Flash was my favorite character at the time. My favorite will still always be, Mark Waid's original Wally West run. That's always been my favorite Flash stories, the stuff he did with the Speedforce and just how he developed Wally, transitioning from Kid Flash into the main Flash, him eventually surpassing Barry. I just really love what he did with that character. And eventually, I got into other forms of DC as well. I really love Justice League Dark, the JSA as well. And watching, stuff like the Arrowverse has also got me into reading stuff like that as well. Yeah. And in terms of my favorite run, of course, is going to be what's up, Cameron? Welcome to the pod, man. And yeah, Mark Waid's Flash run was easily my favorite in terms of favorite stories. Even though it did bring Barry back, up there, Flash Rebirth issue number 3 is actually the first paperback comic I ever got, and I just collected ever since then. As you can see on that wall, I have a lot of Flash stuff. I got New 52 Flash up there. I got Titans when Wally restored the memories of all the other Titans members after Rebirth, and yeah, that's some of my stuff. And anyway, Cameron, I've got any comic stories you want to discuss, like your favorite stories, what got you into reading comics, or favorite characters and whatnot?
Yeah. So off the start, I haven't read too many, but
big fan.
Yeah. Yep. The one I started with was this. Yeah. Club Penguin Heroes Unite. Yeah, I got this at the book fair back in elementary school. Obviously, got my interest with comics with the movies with MCU and DC.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was the start. These are also technically the only ones I own. The rest are just kind of online, hanging out in my my photo gallery on my phone.
Nice.
But yeah, this is the classic thing.
Nice. I got this. All right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, and Chris, you want to finish this off with your own little story?
For me, I got into comics with this thing, Marvel Kids Spider-Man magazine.
Nice.
I remember growing up with this. This is like old comics. And so I then watched Earth's Mightiest Heroes in the 90s, Spider-Man, and my grandparents that lived up in Washington got me those old reprinted ones of Amazing Spider-Man, the original run from Stan Lee, that came in newspapers. I had those and would read the crap out of them. So I've been a big comic fan, big Marvel guy, but DC's had my heart as of late. I think, though, my favorite comic run has been the Tom Taylor Nightwing, which ended the day before I went to New York Comic Con. And I'm miffed about it, but I got to meet the artist, or the main artist for it.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so transition to that in terms of, we can dive more into like other stories. In terms of writers, I have a personal bias because, you know, he writes my favorite character. Anything Flash related that's written by Mark Waid, I absolutely love. I know he kind of gets a mixed rap. I actually do like Grant Morrison and his like Batman and Robin stuff. I know it was kind of controversial at the time, but I actually really enjoy Grant Morrison, what he did with that, and I'm very excited to see how James Gunn adapts some of the Grant Morrison stuff into Batman Brave and the Bold.
Is that who?
Yeah, overall, Mark Waid. You know, Mark Waid's my guy. You know, anytime he writes Flash, he's my guy. Alex Ross. You know, I like his stuff.
His artwork is amazing. One of my favorite artists.
Yeah. Yeah, Alex Ross, like, he kills it when it comes to comic book art, like kind of combining it to make it look real, it look realistic.
Rockwell.
Like, he does such a good job with that. And in terms of favorite stories, in terms of like events, a classic one, of course, is Infinity Gauntlet. I do like. I actually do like even though I'm not the biggest New 52 fan, I do like the New 52 Green Lantern, New 52 Flash. That's like the very few things I liked. I really love the original Young Justice run in the 90s. I think this one's also a bit mixed. I do like some of the stuff that Jeff Johns did with Teen Titans. And some of the early stuff with Titans, you know, before they like combine all the teams, they did the whole Titans Academy stuff. I did like the original run of Titans when it first started back in the Rebirth era. If in terms of big events, you know, Crisis on Infinite Earths is a classic one. I know at this point it is a little overrated because it gets talked a lot, but I love All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
And any other big stuff I want to say is, I think I liked Green Arrow Rebirth. I like that run as well. Miles's current run that he has, I've really enjoyed that. That's like the only Spider-Man related stuff that I've read in recently, because I rage quitted from reading Amazing Spider-Man after the whole Paul situation.
You hear what happened at New York Comic Con with the Spider-Man team?
Oh no, what?
The editor got booed off stage.
Damn.
Like, it literally made headlines.
Damn.
It was so bad that you could hear it from the main hall, and panel rooms are upstairs to like the farthest corner. It was bad, man. He got booed, and people were not happy with him. And he's like, pretty much a big middle finger to the fans. And
yeah, yeah. Any other stuff that I can think of? I do like what they've done with the recent Batman Beyond comics. Let's see. Trying to think of any other like big stuff. I can't remember like if it was 2010 or like 2020. It's like that. It's the Avengers run where Luke Cage, Wolverine, and Spider-Man were a part of the team. I really enjoyed that little era of the Avengers. In terms of DC stuff, it's a basic answer. Long Halloween is one of my favorite Batman stories, and I love Hush. I think that's it for now. Anybody else want to chime in like some of their favorite like comic book runs or stories?
I'm probably gonna have a really bad hot take, but I think Superman, New 52 Superman is massively overhated.
Ooh,
I love New 52 Superman. I think like I love a Superman when he's underpowered, like the Grant Morrison Action Comics run. That's my favorite because it's like he's not too powerful. You know, he can't fly yet. What?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he like lose all of his powers during that run too? Or like
I think that was Truth.
Poisoning?
That was Truth. I don't think Grant Morrison did that one, but and then there's another series I like from DC called Young All Stars. It's like an obscure comic. That's mine.
All right, Chris, you want to name some of your like favorite runs or favorite stories from any like comics in general?
Sorry, this is like the one time I usually have dinner. I just choked on chicken. It's either I have it now or I don't eat it at all. But I love the current Transformers run. It's really good.
Oh yeah, I think it's Skybound that's doing it.
Yep, I've picked up almost every issue. I'm missing like 2 or 3 or 1 or 2 of them, but it's probably the best Transformers story we've gotten outside of Transformers 1 since me personally, I'd say Transformers animated. Like it's so well written.
Mm-hmm.
Then Tom Taylor's Nightwing run, love that book. I've went back and tried to collect as much as I can because like it ties into multiple different books and the Teen Titans run during that time. But I gotta give it to the 2018 through 2022 run of Captain America. That was really good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I don't like current Cap. I'm not a Batman fan, but yeah, I'm reading Batman comics, Batman Robin and Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just started a new series, Batman Robin Year 1, and it's very classic inspired, and I like it so far. Granted, it has Robin in it, my favorite Robin, Dick Grayson. So
yeah,
that and the art style is just beautiful. There's not a lot of good Red Hood books either, which are some of my favorite. But my personal biggest hot take is I love Secret Empire.
Really,
hands down.
Yeah,
I think that's my favorite story.
Oh, Secret Empire's your favorite comic story? Wow. Oh yeah, that's a that's a hot take.
Earth's Mightiest Heroes kind of did it already too. If you think about it.
In a way, yeah, they did.
Like they combined parts of that, which wasn't even out yet, with Secret Invasion, and it was just like you take the Optimus Prime, Captain America, and make him evil, but reveal it's not him, and it's just so powerful. I love it, and I like seeing everyone be like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" It was fun.
Yeah, another one that I kind of did forget. It's like more recent. It's the most recent World's Finest stuff. I've really enjoyed that. I like the art, and I don't know. There's something about like classic like blue and gray Batman that I just really love with the gold emblem. I'm really hoping that's the look that they go for in James Gunn's Batman Brave and the Bold. They probably will stick with black and gray, but I am hoping that at some point we will see like the blue cowl. And no, whatever that was in the Flash movie doesn't fucking count. Okay.
The Flash movie had the best and worst suits of all time.
Yeah.
Only they were never worn for the best suits, and all the worst suits. Yeah. I did like Supergirl's suit in that show.
Yeah, I did
movie.
too. Yeah. Even though they kind of just like combined Laura with Kara and made that into like a hybrid character.
Honestly, in my opinion, that's for the better because it's already confusing as is.
Yeah.
I mean, you also got Power Girl, who
that is true.
Used to be Superman's original cousin.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean.
So, Cameron, got any like big comic stories that are like your favorites that you want to share?
Not too many. Like I still got to kind of get into reading comics, but one just like that I've kind of looked at that's pretty cool is like an independent one. It's called The Antagonists.
Oh, by Godhood. I love that.
Yep. Yeah, and I
That
really want to
Woman.
I want to get into that. I've just really I've seen a lot of what they posted online, and just like comic panels from there. And I really want to like find a copy of that.
Yeah, I want to get into that. And by Kevin Greavius, who's a favorite writer of mine. He has a comic called Darkstorm.
Nice. Yeah.
A comic I recommend y'all check out is Godslap.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
It's actually really good in like the most over the top way.
Nice.
Yeah, and in terms of like outside Marvel and DC, I really love the Boom Studios Power Ranger stuff. I'm so sad that run is over. They are starting up they're starting up, I think it's like Power Rangers Unlimited or something like that.
Called Power Rangers Prime, I think.
Yeah, Power Rangers Prime, that's it. But I really loved what Boom Studios did with that. They really expand upon the MMPR team, but also like put some shine on some of the other characters as well. Shatter Grid was amazing. I did kind of like how even after Tommy became White Ranger, they brought back the Green Ranger with somebody new with the mantle, and I thought that was a really interesting take. And I do like the current TMNT comics; those are great as well. And I highly recommend anybody that watches this check those out as well.
Yeah.
What's even happening in the current TMNT story? I know there's the last Ronin Redux or like sequel series, but
yeah, there is a female turtle that they introduced. It's not the same one from the that old 90s cartoon. It's a new character that's actually interesting.
There's also the time April was a turtle.
Yeah, and then there's like I think it's in the recent run. Mikey actually takes down Splinter, which was really interesting. It shows like Mikey's potential.
Mikey is the turtle. He's the turtle.
That's the one everybody imitates.
Yeah.
That's why he's getting the
nunchuck Cowabunga and stuff. It's nobody else.
Okay, we kind of already went over. I kind of went over writers, but anybody that has any of you guys have any favorite comic book writers?
Other than Kevin Greavius, mine's is Dwayne McDuffie because what he did for Milestone was amazing.
Nice, yeah. Milestone comics are underrated.
It was he did Captain America: Sentinel and Liberty and Batman Beyond. I'm blank on the name, but I met him at New York Comic Con and he was really sweet. Let me try and remember his name really fast. It's like Batman Beyond, Neo Gotham, Kelly, I think his name is.
Colin Kelly. Okay, Neo Kelly.
Yeah, he honestly really cool. He gave me the book for free. He signed it. I just paid for the thing.
Nice.
I got something from him for free. He almost didn't even charge me until I was like, I insisted on it because it's like I mean, it's a cool book and I read it on the plane. And
I know it's a controversial one, but I do like Grant Morrison as a writer. It just depends on the character. I know Jeff Johns is kind of controversial as well, but I did like Jeff Johns, what he did with Green Lantern.
Yeah, and the JSA.
Yeah. And I did like his Teen Titans run as well. And only thing I really like from Mark Wolfman was Crisis. Mark Wolfman made some weird decisions with the new Teen Titans that I didn't like the whole like Terra and Deathstroke thing, which was really fucking weird. And they constantly keep bringing that back for some reason. But also on a run that I forgot to mention earlier, and it's the run that really made me a Kyle Rayner Green Lantern fan. That's the whole storyline where he became the White Lantern. And they also expand upon the Lantern lore with the first Lantern and whatnot. That was really great. And recently they did confirm that Kyle is coming back as the White Lantern, so I'm excited about that.
Which one's the one where his wife gets fridged?
It was his girlfriend, not his wife. And
girlfriend.
I forgot, but it was his girlfriend that got fridged, and and Major Forces did the same thing to I think his mom. Like he put her head in like the microwave or something like that. Kyle Rayner at that point just could not catch a break.
And then his other girlfriend cheated on him.
Yeah, that too.
Kyle Rayner is the DC's Peter Parker.
Yeah,
when it comes to women.
Yeah.
And then we, in terms of like my least favorite, I'm just gonna say this: Frank Miller. I'm sorry, Frank Miller is overrated as hell.
Horse,
I'm
prostitutes. I'm just remembering.
He made like two. The only things that from Frank Miller that I liked was the original Dark Knight Returns, and not those awful sequels that did not need to happen. And his run on Daredevil, I actually really enjoyed that.
His Superman one sucks.
I gotta give it to Zeb Wells. He's horrible.
Yeah, Zeb Wells has done damn near irreparable damage to Spider-Man. Like, I'm genuinely, I feel so bad. Whoever
I'm the Goblin Spider.
I feel so bad for whoever has to like take over as the new writer, because the amount of backtracking they're gonna have to do in order to undo all this is crazy.
I also don't like.
I mentioned earlier, Mike.
The one I don't like, and they're sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. At least one of them is Mark Millar and Garth Ennis.
Mm-hmm.
Like that whole, it's edgy, it's realistic. Everyone's a dick because it's realistic. It's like, what life did you live that you think that in all of your stories?
I also gotta say, I really do not like Dan Slott.
Oh yeah,
I don't think he's a good writer. He did one decent storyline, and that was in the Ultimate Comics, and even then, half of it was bad, not the greatest.
Honestly, aside from Miles and Ultimate Peter, that's all I really like from the Ultimate Universe. I'm sorry, Ultimate Universe was a horrible idea.
Yeah, it's the whole.
It gave us two good movies.
Oh yeah. But I like Next Avengers too. I think that was set in that same continuity. I'm not sure.
I think that one's outside of it. They tried, but I think that
they made like multiple attempts to incorporate the Next Avengers characters into the comics, but it just never worked, which sucks because those were some really great characters, and that was my introduction to Ultron. You know, when Ultron was an actual villain and not whatever that was. Ultron.
Yeah.
I stand by. It's the ending or the true ending to Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Just like
they made like a comic ending, or
like the cartoon Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Like, did they make like a novelization of the ending of that show?
They made like some weird like tie-in comics that I don't even think are canon.
I mean, that's like saying the Batman Adventure comics are canon, where they're so loosely canon.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, it's like, even the writer's like, oh, they could be canon if you wanted them to be. I don't know.
Yeah, I hate that.
Too much Watchtower database.
Yeah. Okay, we can slowly transition to some more newer stuff, and that is if anybody wants to bring up any more current like comic runs they want to talk about. I know, Chris, you want to talk about like Absolute Batman, which I will pull up in a second here. Give me a second.
Black Lightning's starting strong.
Okay, give me a second to pull the banner up. Okay, here we go. All right, so Chris, take it away with DC's Absolute Universe, which is like the current stuff, like quote unquote Elseworlds that they're doing.
I think it's technically main continuity, just like Darkseid's twisted prevalence of it.
Yeah,
I don't know what got or started it, but Batman is an absolute brick and a beast and a half. I'm not a Batman fan. You all know how much I dislike Superman and Batman by themselves, especially Superman.
What is
I
Superman?
love this.
Absolute Superman is basically if DCEU Superman was good.
Yeah.
And had like more or less generic powers and Venom. It looks so good. I'm excited for that, but I've only read Batman 1 and Wonder Woman 1. Oh my god. The fact the man uses his cape to grab people like hooks and fights Alfred.
And he uses ears to stab people.
Like, they're knives. This is the Batman that I think we should have gone for Zack Snyder's. Like this.
For context, this is what Absolute Batman looks like. This absolute brick of a human.
He's like almost 7 feet tall. And the fact too that all of his villains are childhood friends. He lost his dad only in a zoo accident or zoo shooting. His mom's still alive, and Alfred is a Secret Service dude just going to go kill him. And it's like, what the fuck? Yeah. This Batman is terrifyingly awesome. And Wonder Woman. I'm sorry, but how do you make a better Wonder Woman origin story than any other continuity and make it so mysterious? Like, no one else but her can say the word Amazon. And the moment she says it, she gets a power boost. She gets, like, her lasso of... I don't know the new name of it. I think it's Lasso of Torture.
I think it's something like that. I have
Yeah.
Absolute Batman's the only like one in the Absolute universe that I've read all the way through.
A lot of this is known from the preview too, but the fact that she is trained by a witch, she's a goddess, or I think the title of it is War or God of War for this first issue. It is the best. And then like you got the new Nightwing run too, which is also really good so far. I only read the first issue. That's all that's out, but like I think the Absolute Universe is probably DC's best book right now.
Why don't you like Superman, Chris?
He's boring. Like a dude with absolute power and little vulnerability doesn't make sense. He's too much of a Boy Scout. Like Captain America has flaws, and he's only like he's peak human. Superman, like I think there's good adaptations of him, like in the Justice League cartoon, but for the most part, he's too much like yes, like he's pretty much Santa Claus.
Like there hasn't been like a Superman story that's like really grabbed you.
I mean, I've given it a shot. I've read some of the most recommended comics. I've watched all the movies, and then Zack Snyder is like, I didn't care for it, but I like the Christopher Reeves movies because he felt more like a person that could actually get shit rocked in.
I would like it. It has like some issues. I would recommend if you want like a mix of classic with like some modern take. Watch Superman and Lois. It's a great show.
I tried.
And DCAU.
Really?
DCAU Superman, the animated series. I think you like that one too.
Yeah,
I
definitely think Superman. Like I think once you get to like season 3 and season 4 of Superman and Lois, it's really great.
If I gotta wait past a season and a half, I ain't watching it.
All right.
Do you know how much of a time sink that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Also with college and 2 channels I gotta run.
The thing is with Superman that I think people like mistake because people say he's too good, and that's not the problem. It's that he's too powerful sometimes, and he's too nice. I think if you take down his power and make him allowed to be mean to the bad guys, I think he could be really cool. Like when he's not always smiling, I think he's more interesting. Like if someone really pisses him off.
I like his naivety. I think him being naive is a thing I liked about the animated series for him, but no other adaptation has really gotten that. There is too much like an actual Boy Scout, and to me that's just not an interesting character.
Yeah, as far as for me in terms of like more modern stuff or recent stuff, like I said, Absolute Batman I really love that. The current Miles Morales run is amazing, and although I fell a bit behind, the most recent Blue Beetle run was fantastic. That started with Graduation Day, which they took a little bit of stuff from that for the Blue Beetle film. I'm really hoping once they get that Blue Beetle animated series up and running, they take more inspiration, like the stuff with the Horizon, the new lore they added to the Reach, and the new Beetles like Gold Beetle, Blood Beetle, the new Green Beetle. I absolutely love, and they're every single one of them is really unique. So I'm really hoping they adapt that to the Blue Beetle animated series, or if they do another Blue Beetle film, or if they put like Blue Beetle in like the Titans or a Green Lantern movie. I think that would be really interesting. And the most recent Batman Beyond stuff I've really enjoyed as well. And
we also got the new
Paris
X-Men run.
Nice. Paris, was any Batman stuff, or not Batman stuff, but just like recent like comic book runs or stories that you want to bring up that you've enjoyed so far?
Black Lightning that just came out. Comic. I think Black Lightning. I hope he gets his due this time because he's also very underrated.
I like this show.
His show, it started off kind of like it was like I think some of it was like I know you got to focus on real issues, but a lot of it felt exploitive. Like it was trying to feed us propaganda about like the police and all that stuff. But it kind of felt up and down. But like I didn't like what they did in season 4 was really bad. I did not like that.
Yeah, I think I stopped after season 3 because it was starting to drag a little bit.
Yeah.
But like, Kevin, if you get a chance, I recommend the new X-Men run.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It's really depressing.
Krakoa stuff kind of turned me off X-Men, if I'm being honest.
There's 2 runs. We got Uncanny and then X-Men proper, which follow both teams of Rogue and then Cyclops. I like Uncanny more. That's the one I had up. And I'm sure you saw it online with the cancer kid. But Rogue is fighting the most demented looking thing I've seen in a comic in a long time. And it is brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the fallout of whatever happened there. This is the first time I've ever read an X-Men book. I only like X-Men Evolution. That's
awesome.
Oh yeah, X-Men Evolution is great.
It's so good. Hands down.
I think for me, aside from like the original 90s series, X-Men Evolution is one of the best X-Men adaptations because it gives shine to all the other characters. Because don't get me wrong, I love Wolverine the X-Men, but Wolverine is he's the main character, unfortunately. Like the other X-Men are there, but they don't have a lot of development. And I really love what they did with Spike in X-Men Evolution. Oh, yeah. Spike was one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
And see, I don't think there's any bit. I think that's it for X-Men. Like, yeah, there was like that what was it, like Future State? Not Future State. It was like Marvel Future Fight or something like that. Marvel anime that they did that was interesting, but it just wasn't for me.
They also did the all the video games, and I don't know. X-Men, I've never been a big fan of it until recently. It's rare for me to say I like X-Men, and this is then the art is beautiful, and Cyclops' new outfit.
Okay, I'll probably check that out.
It's like X-Men Evolution, but like what I think he'd wear in college. Granted, we have him and Magneto working together. Which is weird.
All right. I know you don't read many comics, but any new stuff that you've checked out, Karen, by any chance, before we move on to our next topic?
Nah, I don't know if I know that like new from I've seen like a lot of what you guys been talking about, like with Absolute Batman and stuff, but nothing too much.
Okay, so for like the last, let's say like 30 minutes, because I want to keep like this first episode short. Like some of these might get longer, but I kind of want to keep this like short and sweet, especially for some of you guys who want to watch this like offline. We'll slowly transition into like the to like the main stuff, which is what's currently going on with the DCU and talking about some of the news that's popped up and kind of like our overall thoughts and hopes for future projects and any of the projects that have been announced. Like, what are our thoughts on that? So a big one, the first one I want to talk about is Superman. One, I am actually hopefully optimistic for this one. In terms of all the DC projects that have been announced, this is the one I'm really looking forward to the most. I trust James Gunn. James Gunn reads comics. And I think David Cornsweet is a great cast. I know some people say, oh, he looks like Henry Cavill, which I feel like that was kind of the point. He looks like Superman. And the suit has kind of grown on me. It kind of depends on the angle. And I think I need to see it like in cinematic motion before I could really judge it. But in terms of news, they did. The current rumor is that the first trailer is dropping soon in December and will be attached to the Mufasa film. That when it hits theaters, that's when they'll show the first trailer. And those, I believe, I can believe that because they need to show a teaser trailer to build up this hype because this is first Superman film, live action film we've gotten since 2013. So they're going to have to like promote the hell out of it. And these same sources that are saying this were correct about the How to Train Your Dragon live action trailer. So I think it releasing in December makes sense.
Yeah.
And overall, what do you guys think about this this new Superman and what they're currently doing with the project?
I think I'm really going to like it. I hope he's, again, not OP. So like he's just strong enough. And that, like, he's still like he struggles and stuff, so that would be cool to see.
Yeah, like a good balance.
I'm hyped. I think it'll be a good movie, but I got to see how. Or for once, I'm excited for a Superman project that is an absolute Superman.
Yeah, James Gunn running the forefront. I have hope that this universe is going to be good and that they're get some stuff right. For as far as from like the kind of behind the scenes stuff that we've seen, it looks pretty good so far. I like that they got I forget what the Terrifics in there. I feel like
the Terrifics. Yeah, that's definitely
nice. Yeah, I think that's kind of
a
nice,
I do enjoy that
soft like introduction to like the other heroes in the universe. So overall,
I know that's going to be a concern. I actually have faith James Gunn can do it because I did enjoy what he did with Guardians. Like the only thing that I didn't really like was Adam Warlock and Ego. That's it. But I think James Gunn has proved that he can balance multiple characters in a project and do it well. And I think this is a good idea to have this be almost a pre-established universe. Superman is going to be like the inspiration to bring out these newer heroes. And having them start, if the rumor of having them start as like this corporate team, but then they leave Maxwell Lord and they transition to like the hopeful heroes that we all know, I think that's a cool idea because Superman is like he's the embodiment of hope in the DC universe, and I am a little iffy about some of the castings. The main one is Nathan Fillion as Guy Garner. Like you're gonna have to really sell me on this one, but the other castings, I'm hopefully optimistic with this. It is interesting that they're using Kendra Saunders instead of Shira Hall. Then again, Shira hasn't really been Hawk Girl in a while, so I guess that's probably why they're making her Hawk Girl. And I am curious what they're going to do with Krypto because we've never seen. Oh, that's not true. We did technically see Krypto in live action, but I don't want to talk about that show. But overall, I'm excited with what James Gunn's going to do with this project. I have faith it's going to be good, and I'm just very excited what is going to spin off from this film. Like, are we going to eventually see Jonathan Kent, Connor Kent, or any of the expanded Superman family? What is the Justice League going to look like? Does the Justice League already exist at this point? I'm very curious to see what direction they're going to take Superman. And in terms of villains, as far as we can tell, the Engineer is going to be in it, but there have been rumors that Mongol might show up or Brainiac. And I want them to do Brainiac right because the only like good version of Brainiac I would say that they've done in live action is on Krypton. I actually really liked what they did with Brainiac. He had a great look, especially for a TV budget. And I'm just really excited for this universe. And we any finishing thoughts before we move on to like the next DCU topic?
They should cast Dwayne The Rock Johnson as the body double for Brainiac with Kevin Hart as the voice.
That would be funny.
Sorry, get Jack Black to play it. If it was old DC, they'd do that. You know it.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, we can probably transition to the next topic. And that is what they're going to be doing with the Lanterns project. My only concern about that is they're trying to make it like a grounded detective story. And I like the whole buddy cop aspect with Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. But making it grounded is a bit odd because
why have it on Earth?
Why have it on Earth? Because I think there should be a good in terms of your very first Green Lantern project with Human Lanterns. I think it's a good idea to have a balance between Earth stuff and cosmic stuff because I love like the cosmic stuff of Green Lantern. With the other Lantern Corps like Atrocitus, Sinestro, Saint Walker, all the other Lantern Corps stuff. So I'm really hoping eventually once this universe starts expanding, we get those characters and establish all that stuff. Maybe even, eventually like years down the line, we get, Blackest Night, Brightest Day, the whole White Lantern stuff. Because as a Kyle Rayner fan, I love the whole White Lantern aspect of it.
You're going to have to see get fridged in live action.
Kyle Rayner's girlfriend gets fridged for character development.
Yeah. Live action fridging.
Yeah. But like the main thing I'm concerned about is Hal Jordan's age, because allegedly the actor only has a contract for 1 year, which has me really worried they're going to do what I think they're going to do.
Yeah,
and that is if you saw like the Green Lantern animated film,
everyone just makes
my power. God, that was ass. Like I'm sorry,
animated movies were.
I really hope they're not going to do what I think they're going to do, and that is they're going to eventually have Hal turn to Parallax, kill him off. And that's how they bring in the other Lanterns. I'm gonna really hate it if they do something like that.
Yeah, I think Hal should not be as old as he is because the guy they cast is like in his 60s or 50s. It's like, Why not make them close in age and just have their personalities?
Yeah, because John is gonna be like in his like what early 30s. They could have easily made Hal like 35 or something.
Yeah, like what are you doing?
Yeah, that's like my main
I don't think
concern.
they should be mentor. Like I don't think one should mentor the other. I think they should like figure it out together.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like you can have Hal be a little experienced because Hal was chosen
the first
to be a
Green Lantern. So yeah, but like,
I think a mutual partnership should work.
Yeah, like John's discipline should balance out Hal's cockiness.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what they should have done. But ultimately, I am cautiously optimistic, and I'm very curious to see where they take this. And if it's gonna stay, honestly, if I'm being honest, I kind of wish they kept the original plan from the original Green Lantern show that was supposed to be in the DCEU before it was reworked into this. And that is, they essentially save Hal and John from the movies, and they do all the expansion Lantern lore in the show.
Yeah. That's what there's a guy that I watched called Super Frame, and he did something similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, there's like certain lanterns, like I think he said Hal was in the TV show and that John would be in the movies.
Yeah, I think that's what they should have done with that. But overall, I'm cautiously optimistic. As far as any other projects, Creatures Commandos, like I don't know enough about Creatures Commandos about being honest. So I'm not like have a super high excitement rate for that, but if they're gonna like bring some of those characters, I do think the concept of combined animation and live action is an interesting concept, but it's gonna be hard to like sell to casual audience and to execute properly. Because like some of the characters, like for example, Rick Flag Sr. is gonna start off in animation, but he's gonna show up in Peacemaker and he's gonna show
Superman.
up in Superman. So I'm very interested to see how they're gonna balance that out.
Yeah. Sorry.
As far as any of the other projects, I actually think the Themyscira series is interesting, but I personally think they should have just made a Wonder Woman movie.
Oh, they're making a Themyscira series?
Yeah, it's supposed to like expanding the lore of the Amazons, which I think is an interesting idea, but I think they should have done like a Wonder Woman project first and then do the Themyscira show. I think that would have been better at least in my opinion.
I think they're doing that just to gauge like actual interest though in Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, her last few films did decent, but not grand.
Yeah, like Wonder Woman 84 didn't do great. I like the first Wonder Woman up until like the third act. Like the third act is where the movie kind of falls apart, in my opinion. Yeah. But I still think like the first two acts were strong enough to make it a decent film. And I just really hope when they eventually do Wonder Woman, whoever they cast, I hope they do a good job. And I really hope they like bring in the essence of Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman hasn't really gotten a lot of shine outside of animation. So, and even in animation, she's always like on a team. Like there's only like I think 2 or 3 animated Wonder Woman movies out there. So I'm really hoping Wonder Woman gets her proper shine because she's a dope character and she's very integral to DC. And one thing I do hope DC eventually does, and James Gunn does with DCU, is do more like team up films. I want to see World's Finest. I want to see a Trinity film.
Didn't they announce World's Finest?
Yeah, I would like to see, just like some small team up projects, even they're just one-offs. Like let's say they do something like Supergirl teams up with like Nightwing or something, or they have like Damian Wayne run into
Connor.
Yeah, or something like that. Like just small stuff like that. I think that would be pretty cool. It helps like build the universe, have it feel more connected. But also, I think it would be great for casual audience as well to get into some of these other characters. Especially if you want to do stuff like the Trinity, because I think a Trinity movie would be amazing. And you could easily have a Trinity movie. Films. Yeah, and you could easily have the Trinity movie eventually lead into the formation of the Justice League. I think that would be a smart move.
Yeah, that was my idea for like my own DC universe. Like each like have certain like in their solo films have other Justice League members that are already established up here.
Mm-hmm.
Like have like I would do a Wonder Woman movie and then have Batman and Superman be a supporting cast.
Mm-hmm. If they weren't using this name already for another project, I think a cool like series of team up films, just call it Brave and the Bold. I think that's what
like the comics.
Let's see, they should do Wonder Woman team up. Oh, honestly, I'd be for that. I think Wonder Woman teaming up with Flash would be a cool project.
I mean,
because if they weren't already using Brave and the Bold for Batman, I would love it if they did. Because the original Brave and the Bold was like a bunch of anthology team ups. That's what they used for the concept of Batman Brave and the Bold, the animated series. I would have loved that. Like they can do like a establish the Hal and Barry friendship and do a movie with that. I think that could be cool. And you can do a bunch of like team up stuff, like maybe have Aquaman and Wonder Woman work together on a mission. Like say like Black Manta is like working with Ares or something.
But what would you want more? Team up movies or solo projects?
I think I want like a balance of both because I don't want too many team ups, but I also don't want too many solo stuff because I want this universe to be connected, but still kind of feel fresh and not feel like over bloated. Because I think that's a big problem. What happened with Phase 4 onward is that they just put out way too many projects to the point where it was really hard for like the casual audience to like keep up with. And also, you know, they were pushing out projects for characters not a lot of people really cared about. Because let's face it, who actually is excited for an Ironheart series?
No
like
one.
as somebody that
It's
actually
characters.
like
Nobody
as
wants to
somebody
see.
who actually liked Riri in the comics, Riri only became interesting when she was a part of the Champions. Like I personally think they should have just skipped all that and just did Champions right off the bat.
There's
Yeah,
a rumor
like,
that she's doing Tony Stark's arc all over again in the show,
Yeah.
like beat for beat. Then
she be
She-Hulk
an
apparently is no
alcoholic?
longer canon.
Oh, She-Hulk?
People are saying it might not be canon anymore because
Oh, they're gonna like retcon it out of canon. I mean,
Oh,
honestly,
thank God.
it would not
Thank
surprise
God.
me.
I mean, they already took her off the banner. The actress got fired and cut from every project that she was attached to already. So
Yeah, maybe we can get the real Titania this time. I did not like what they did with Titania.
Yeah, and it upsets me that Abomination is not a part of the Thunderbolts.
What
do
the
you guys
hell
see
did
the
they
new,
do
like,
to
trailer
Abomination
footage?
in that
No,
show?
they I don't know I don't even think that was even that wasn't even Abomination anymore. I don't know what they were thinking with that. Make
was an Abomination.
It was Korg.
Yeah,
yeah, they
it
basically
was
made him into
Korg,
Korg,
yeah.
but
I think he's playing the long con or leaders controlling him. I think Brave
Yeah.
New World we're going to see Rage Hulk again or Abomination. One of the two.
Yeah. So the transition back into the DCU stuff. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they do with that Swamp Thing film. I'm hoping that Swamp Thing film eventually leads into a Justly Dark movie or series. I'm a huge Justly Dark fan, so I love like the whole supernatural aspect of DC because we haven't really seen a lot of like supernatural mixed with superheroes. Like we've tried in certain aspects, but they haven't been like super successful in my opinion in terms of live action. So I'm really hoping we eventually get Justly Dark. And I don't care if he's just a TV actor. Bring back Matt Ryan as Constantine. Okay, that man was born to play that role. Because I want to see Constantine, I want to see Satana, Deadman, you know, the whole Justly Dark team. And apparently that's what was supposed to happen in season 2 of Swamp Thing before the show got canceled because they weren't making enough profits to make a second season. And now we get to the final project, I believe, and that is Batman Brave and the Bold. I'm cautiously optimistic about it because I'm a huge Damian Wayne fan, but at the same time, I am very nervous that Andy Muschietti is a part of this directing this project because
he
was god awful. I'm sorry.
He was the Flash director, right?
Yeah. He directed the It movies. I thought the first It was great. I didn't really like the second It movie, I'm being completely honest. That's why I'm like really, really worried how they're gonna handle Batman Brave and the Bold. Yeah.
I'm optimistic. I mean, he can do good movies. It's just sometimes he needs to be wrong in, and I think James Gunn is the guy to do that.
Okay. Like if James Gunn is overseeing some of these projects, then good, because I think you're gonna need somebody that like oversees the projects to make sure everything's like, you know, that's like a tight ship, you know, running well. And I'm very curious. I know he's controversial. I like the Grant Morrison stuff with Batman and Robin, which seems to be what they're taking inspiration from. I'm very curious what they're going to do with Damian. I know Damian is a bit of a brat, which was kind of the point of his character, but I really love what they've done with Damian in recent comics. Oh yeah, I forgot to bring that up earlier. But Damian has had a lot of great character development, so I'm really hoping they adapt some of that. And I'm hoping that even if we don't get the whole Bat family right off the bat, I'm hoping at least Nightwing is in the film because I love the dynamic. Right? I love the dynamic between Dick and Damian. They arguably have a closer connection than Bruce and Damian. And in a way, Damian was, you know, Dick's Robin. So I'm I'm really hoping they establish that brotherhood and that dynamic, and I'm really hoping that they cast the right person for Nightwing. As much as I like Leo Howard, I feel like they're gonna want to get a more experienced actor. I know some people want Asher Angel, he's been working out. He has a body for it, but I just don't know if I see Nightwing from him.
A lot of it goes down to charisma, like if they can't sell their charismatic and like a comfort. Nightwing has a very Superman quality to him.
People are saying they want like a Romani actor because in the comics, Dick is Romani or half Romani. Yeah. So,
do you think they should make a movie about Batman and Robin versus Red? I don't know about Red Hood and Joker because you have to really sell me on Red Hood teaming up with the Joker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we get Arkham Knight V2.
Oh yeah, maybe that. But I honestly a dynamic duo film. Oh yeah, that's another thing. But we'll get into that in a bit. But a Batman and Robin film, when it's just the two of them, I like that, especially if they want to make a more detective story, and especially depending on which Robin. Like, let's say they instead of Damian this time they put in Tim, because Tim and Damian kind of share the Robin mantle at this point. And it would give Tim something to do because they have done fuck all with Tim in like the most recent years because Tim has just been kind of forgotten in a lot of stories. So
it has good art.
And just in general, because Tim's involved in big stuff, but he's just kind of there. Like in the last big Batman run, Tim was just there with the family. That's it. So I'm hoping
the Miles Morales effect.
A little bit, yeah.
Like they call it Tim Drake Robin. And then you get Robin.
Yeah.
In the comics, I'm like, bruh.
Yeah. But I want to see Under the Red Hood in live action. I think depending on who they get, it would be sick. And I have been a big advocate for Tanner Buchanan to be Jason Todd. I think he would kill it as Jason Todd. I know he's not tall enough for Red Hood. They can use body doubles anyway, so they can film at different angles or put him on a stand. I think they can make it work.
Or just get lifters. I mean, that's what I use for my Red Hood cosplay now. Give me that 2 extra inches. But here's the crazy thing. I want Tim Drake in live action as long as we get Jason Todd for one sole reason. I want to see Tim get his ass beat.
Yeah, that moment in the comics when Jason pulled up at Titan's Tower
wearing the Robin suit off
and just beats the absolute hell out of Tim. That was funny in the comics.
Just the fact that he's also wearing the original Robin suit with the undies.
But thanks for the Comic-Con, Jason. I don't know about this particular idea, but Batman and Robin film or Under the Red Hood film would be sick. Or they could maybe they could do that story in the comics, when what was it? I think Joker Joker flatlined or something, and Bruce resuscitated him, and then him and Dick kind of had a bit of a fight. They could do something like that if that's what you're referring to.
Dick,
but in terms of I'm really optimistic about the Brave and the Bold, because even though I'm not super sold on Andy Muschietti directing the project, Batman Brave and the Bold, what they can do with that and what can be expanded from that is a cool idea. Because yes, would I have preferred Dick first and then we move on, eventually built up to Damian? Yes, but from a business standpoint, it makes sense why they would jump straight to Damian. Especially for casual audience, because this way you can have a fully established Bat family, right from the get-go, and then you can introduce some the lesser-known members. I want to see Cassandra Cain. She's one of my favorite members of the Bat family. You can introduce newer members like Dude Thomas if you want. Barbara Gordon. Now this does depend if you want to have Barbara be Oracle or Batgirl. It kind of depends because
she's both now.
Yeah. Stephanie Brown as Spoiler or as Batgirl, like I said, depends on if Barbara's Oracle or not. So overall, I am very optimistic for the DCU. Again, it all depends on execution, and they need to get the right people behind the script and the right directors. I'm not sold on Andy Muschietti, but if he's going to stay with the project, I'm really hoping they get a great writer that knows what they're doing, that knows the source material. Because I think a big thing why I'm really confident in the Batman Part 2 is because Matt Reeves knows what the fans want, and I really enjoyed what they did with the Penguin series. They got a lot of people that clearly know the source material, so that's what I'm really optimistic about that. If I had to cast a Red Hood, yeah, Tanner Buchanan would be a great Red Hood in the other place.
Apparently, they're
Willem Dafoe, I think, would kill it as the Joker, but the thing is, he's kind of old now. Maybe they could get what is it
His son.
one of the Skarsgård brothers to do that.
My favorite fan cast, my personal fan cast is Gideon Emery, the guy that played Deucalion in Teen Wolf. I think he'd make a great Joker.
Yeah, he'd be a good Joker too. Another one is I forget the character name, but Dark Chosen brought this up. He was in Terrifiers 3.
Oh, the guy that played.
Yeah. He would fan cast him as Joker. Honestly, if he's a good actor, and he can pull it off, I'm all for it.
I gotta hear the voice for it.
Yeah, that's the you have to. They need to have the right voice because the worst version of the Joker for me is the one from the Young Justice animated series. Because I'm sorry, that Joker was awful.
I actually think that there's one that beats it for how bad it is, and that's the one from those Justice League Crisis animated movies.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that dude's design? The pants went up to here.
Yeah, that was weird. Like,
that whole series was horrible.
Yeah, like the Tomorrowverse. Yeah, the only movie that I liked was the Justice Society movie.
Yeah, like that whole universe was rushed. Like having things, and
because if you get the box set, you can definitely tell they had more movies planned, but for some reason, I guess they just like canceled it. Now I don't know if it was because like the whole DCU thing, they wanted to cross over animation with live action, or if it was another thing, or if it had something to do with the Warner and Discovery merger. I don't know. If anybody actually knows the reason why they just rushed and ended the Tomorrowverse like so abruptly, let me know.
A working theory I heard is it's to start James Gunn's universe.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
And I don't know. I think since it ended this year too. Yeah, I don't think we'll hear anything until like next year.
But the transition, another project, because I know this hasn't been confirmed to be DCU yet, but it is a DC project coming out, and it's going to be a more unique project. That is the dynamic duo film with Jason and Dick, because it's confirmed Jason and Dick are going to be the protagonists.
And isn't that the puppet one?
Yeah, it's the one with they're combined like CG, 2D, and puppeteering. So I'm very curious how that's going to work. If it's going to be like what was it, Kudo? I'm all for it because I actually really enjoyed that film, or if they're going to do. Because I saw someone point this out, they're going to do something similar to what they did with Iron Giant when they had the puppeteering for that.
There's puppeteering in Iron Giant?
Yeah, I like to use it as a base for the characters.
Oh, okay.
And it looked really well, and it looked really well done. They combined that. I think it can be it will be a really it will be an interesting way of storytelling. But I think if it's implemented well, I'm all for it. But it all depends on one thing for me, and that is the actual story. Because I'm not sure how they're gonna do it. Like, is Dick just gonna be Nightwing? And because it kind of makes it seem like both Jason and Dick are Robin. So is it gonna be like that weird era where Dick was transitioning into Nightwing and he'll become Nightwing at the end of the movie or something?
I think it's gonna be like they transition halfway through the film, and then we see Robin or Red Hood and Nightwing.
I hope that's the route they're gonna go.
Because I mean, recently in the Tom Taylor run, they did a flashback to where Nightwing met Jason again. Like he went back, Bruce was out of town for something, and he's like, they stole the Batmobile for some reason just to cheer Jason up, and I think that could be a story they take because it was all about, I can't remember the exact story beats, but it was about stopping drug trades. And the two had to get along, and like that's where the crowbar joke was made.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was funny.
So I think they might be taking inspiration from that because I heard that they're taking a lot of inspiration from the Tom Taylor run, mainly also just because of how popular that run is. But time will tell.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I'm very cautiously optimistic for this DCU. And like I said, since it's a brand new universe, there's a lot they can do. I'm really excited for any future Bat Family projects. The one project I'm really curious about is the Titans movie that they're going to be doing. Now, they call it Teen Titans, so I'm very curious how they're going to do it. Like, is it going to be a prequel film where during Dick's time with the original Titans? Are they going to go a rebirth route, and it's going to be when Damian led the team? Are they going to do like DC AMU where it's like Dick and Starfire were the leaders, Damian joins the team because it was to teach him how to work with others? are they going to do something like Titans Academy? I think Titans Academy would work as like, I think it would work as a spinoff, like on Max, but I don't think it would work as a film. Because of how big the roster is, there's so much they can do with it. Are they going to go like the 2000s route? And that was, that era where they kind of combined the Young Justice team and the Titans at the time into one group. Because I think at that point, Dick was doing like solo work, or he was Batman. I can't remember which.
It was something.
I
think they're going to take more modern stories, but use a classic team.
They could do it where maybe they might save Damian joining later on, because they might want to keep Damian with Bruce for a bit and then have him join the Titans later.
Well, that's just
which could be
the
smart.
Animated movies at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think James wants to do that.
Yeah, I think it ultimately depends on execution and what the team would be, because I think they should start off with classic first, and then they can do like an Age of Ultron type thing, where in a post-credit scene or at the end of the film they bring in the newer members. Like they can add Damian later. Superboy, Blue Beetle. I know Blue Beetle is an adult in the DCU, but he's like a young adult, so I think it could work. Or they could simply retcon his age.
No.
Aqualad as well. The Calderon version, or Jackson Hyde as he is known in the comics. So there's like a lot of different directions they can go. So aside from Superman and Batman, the Titans movie, because I love the Teen Titans. Like Teen Titans is probably my favorite superhero team. I put it up there with the JSA and the Justice League. Like I love the Avengers, but there's just something about the dynamic with the Titans that I absolutely love. I personally think they have the best team dynamic out of any other superhero team, in my personal opinion, anyway, with the stories that I've read. Because they're definitely a lot closer than other superhero teams. Like I'd argue they have a closer connection to each other than even the Justice League.
I mean, yeah, especially the fact that they all moved to Bloodhaven at some point together.
Yeah,
which is weird. Would you want Wally West on the team though, or no?
I think it kind of depends. Like I said, is it going to be a prequel film about the original team? Because it ultimately comes down to, is Wally going to be the main Flash, or is it going to be Barry? That's what it's going to do.
Wally.
Yeah, because I feel like because Barry has been in the forefront in live action for a long time, they might just... Now, here's my thing. I don't want them to do where Barry's dead and Wally's taken over. I think what they should do is, you could easily do kind of what they were doing with Dark Crisis, where Barry was with the Justice League Incarnate, or Barry's just like off doing his own thing, and Wally's like the main Flash that we follow. Because in the comics, after Death Metal, Wally West took over as the main Flash again, but Barry was still active, so they could do something like that.
Yeah, or
maybe they could have like. They could have solo films that are focused on Wally, and maybe Barry is the Flash that's in the Justice League stuff, because there's many different ways they can do it. I just don't want them to, kill off Barry and just so Wally can be main Flash, because like Wally is my Flash. He always will be, but I don't want them to just shit on Barry, because I'm personally not a fan of how they just depower Barry after Absolute Power. Like, I know it's temporary, but as of right now, Barry has no powers in the comics, and which is kind of pointless because Wally West was already the main Flash anyway at that point. So it just felt really pointless to me. But if they do a Titans film, I want there to be a Wally West on there. Even if it's Wallace, I'll take it.
No. Wallace is such a bad character.
They should make a Red Hood movie. You know what? I watch that. That's a fire tie. The Revenge of the Red Hood. I watch it. I think that's a cool idea. But anyway, anybody have any closing thoughts before we wrap up here? Like I said, I want to keep this first episode short. We'll probably have longer episodes as we go on. I'm planning to we'll probably do these either once a month or maybe like every 2 weeks, but just in a way so we don't get burned out from doing these.
Yeah, considering I also got my own podcast that goes weekly.
Yeah.
Those are
so anybody have any closing thoughts about DCU or just comics in general you guys want to bring up before we wrap up here?
I hope they introduce young Clark Kent as Superboy again, because that part of the mythos is very underrated.
Ooh, I kind of like that era. Yeah, that was an interesting take. For me, I just want more superhero teams. I don't want just the Justice League and the Teen Titans. Like, I want more than that, because that was like my one gripe with the MCU is that there was just the Avengers and the Guardians, and that's really about it. Like, yeah, other heroes that are like doing solo stuff. But I want more. Like, because for DC, I want to see All Stars. I want to see the Terrifics, which I think they're going to do. I think that's what's going to be set up.
JSA, Legion.
Yeah. Oh, a Legion of Superheroes series would be fire. I'd watch the hell out of that. Give me Karate Kid, okay? Bring back Karate Kid, okay? Karate Kid's a badass DC.
I hope we get to see a lot of prequel stuff, like early DC era for like Nightwing.
I would love a Justice Society, that's a Justice Society trilogy that are period pieces. I love that. Like each film is in a different era. Like the first one's in the 40s, then the sequel's like in the 60s, and then the final one could be like 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
Be cool to have
there's a lot of comic stuff coming out next year.
Yeah.
And then like
villain movies are tough, but the one I would love is a Reverse Flash origin movie. I think Reverse Flash is like one of the few villains that I think can work as a film. But Zoom getting his own project I think could work. The thing is, Hunter Zolomond's more of a Wally West villain because they tried to make him a Barry Allen villain in Rebirth and it just didn't work. Because I was like during like the whole Force Quest storyline, which I wasn't that big of a fan of. Because that was when they introduced, the Strength Force, the Still Force, and all that shit, and I just that wasn't for me. And that eventually led to the creation of arguably the worst season of The Flash ever. But yeah, anybody have any closing thoughts? What are your dream DCU projects you'd like to see before we wrap up here?
I want to see Nightwing film.
I want to see what they do with Aquaman.
Oh, what was that, Paris?
I want to see what they do with Aquaman. Like, hopefully they'll make a better movie because the first one was just lame and generic.
Mm-hmm. I like the cinematography of it. That's the only thing I liked about the Aquaman movies.
Yeah,
that movie didn't look good in my opinion at all, apart from some of the fight scenes.
Yeah. What about you, Cameron? Any DCU projects, dream projects you would like to see?
Sorry. I do want to see a Justice Society movie. I need to watch it, but I really like that kind of what they did with Stargirl.
I love Stargirl.
Oh yeah, I'm still salty they canceled that show. That show was so good.
It was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think that'd probably be my dream movie, just kind of off the top of my head. It's a Justice Society movie focusing on those classic era guys, like Hourman. I think it was
Green
Big
Lantern.
Cat. Green Lantern.
Wildcat.
A lot of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, Jay Garrick.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I already mentioned some of those, but I want to see Super Sons. If you're gonna use Damian, I want to see John and Kent. I want to see young John Kent and Damian just fucking off, going on some adventures together. I love that book. I will forever. I do like the character development they gave John when they aged him up, but I will still never agree with the decision to just forcefully age him up. They should have aged him up gradually over the years. But I love that dynamic that John and Damian have. It's probably one of my favorite friendships in all the comics. And any other projects other than that, aside from Bat Family stuff, Batman Beyond. Okay, that's technically Bat Family, but a Batman Beyond film. I want to see that. And also, there is a fan film out there with Ryan Potter as Terry McGinnis out there, so you guys should check that out. It's really good.
Oh.
And anything else?
DC wise, I can't think of anything. I'm thinking about the Spider-Verse tease from the other day.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Anything
Wasn't that
else?
for TV?
Yeah, Legion of Superheroes. I think that's basically Green Arrow. I want to see Green Arrow, Black Canary done right in live action. Because don't get me wrong, I love my boy Stephen Amell, but he was just Batman. Let's be real. He was just Batman. Yeah. And
I'm Batman. No, I'm there.
And as somebody that recently finished Smallville like a month ago, those reactions are going to be slowly being put on Patreon as we speak. I like Justin Hartley, but he was a little bit too similar to Batman to me, so I'm really hoping to get the classic Green Arrow, with the goatee, his dynamic with Black Canary, maybe even introduce Roy or any of the other members of that, like maybe Connor Hawke or something. I just really want to see, classic Green Arrow done right. Any
consistent output projects, not like what Marvel's doing. Like, we're in such a drought right now.
Yeah.
And next year, I don't think they have a single.
And it just
project that
doesn't feel
anyone's excited
connected.
for.
Like even though they're like all canon to each other, it just doesn't feel connected. So I hope for the DCU, it all feels connected, but they don't just put out like 10 projects in the span of like 3 years or something.
Oh god, no. I think having a show in between each film would be smart, but
Yeah, that's what I
Like-
think they should do.
animated 1 year, live action the next, or like half and half.
Yeah, just I personally think you should do only like 1 or 2 projects a year. I think that's the smart move, in my
Film and a
opinion, at
show,
least.
maybe.
Yeah, like a movie and a show, because I think one problem why the visual effects are given those shitty conditions is just because lack of resources, because they're spread thin, because they were shooting like 3 or 4 projects at the same time, and it just wasn't working well over the MCU. So I'm hoping the DCU, avoids that by just chilling for a bit and only like doing like 1 or 2 projects a year.
They're also doing games though for it.
Yeah.
That'll be canon, which I'm not.
Which is an interesting concept. I don't know if that will be executed well, but I think ultimately comes down on execution.
Yeah.
But anyway, this was a fun little first episode. Thank you, Chris, Cameron, and Paris for coming on. This
You're
was a lot
welcome.
of fun. Like I said, planning on doing more of these. We'll see. It ultimately depends on 1 thing, scheduling, and 2, because we don't want to get too burned down. I'm thinking we'll start off once a month, and if we want to do like more, well, I'll probably do like bumping out to like every other week, just so we don't get burned out. I say Spider-Man. Ooh, that would be a cool little project. But anyway, guys, yeah, thank you, Kwanji-san, for popping in. They did my boy Quan so dirty in that part, but that's a whole separate discussion. And as far as other live streams that are outside the podcast, those will continue. I'm planning on doing a couple more Cobra Kai streams before part 3 drops. If there's any more information about the Karate Kid film, I'll probably do some stuff on that. And even just regular streams where I talk Marvel and DC, that's still going to continue on the channel with Jacob and some of the other guys that are available. I'll bring them on here, and I'll probably even bring RJ, Cody, and Jacob on to the podcast whenever they're free, because especially RJ, because he's a huge Spider-Man fan, and it'll be nice to get that discussion rolling. But anyway, guys, yeah, more in terms of this podcast is something I've been planning for a while, and I'm really curious to see where this goes. And yeah, future live streams are coming as well. I'm currently editing my part 2 reactions with the Kings of Pop Culture, which was a lot of fun. And season 6, episode 6 uncut reaction is already up on Patreon. I'm hoping to get 7 and 8 up there as well, and 9 and 10 tomorrow. And anyway, guys, yeah, I'm gonna thank you once again for Cameron, Chris, and Paris for coming onto the podcast. And yeah, gonna end it right here. Thank you to everybody tuning in and who will probably watch this offline. And yeah, you know what? Since this is our first DC centered podcast, let's just show some clips here.
Well, I'm not like the Flash at all. Some would say I'm the reverse. Never forget, I am the fastest man alive.